Good morning, everyone. To our professor, Sir Raymond Salves, to my dear classmates, a pleasant morning to each and every one of us. My name is Jessamine S. Armero, and I will be your presenter for today. My topic is to discuss about geography, the solar system, the graphic representation of the Earth. The objective of this study is first, we're going to define what is geography and the history of geographic study. Also, we're going to understand the elements of geography. We're going to explore around the world, or around the universe rather, the solar system, the planets, the moons, and the sun. We're going to see the beauty of the planet Earth, the layers of the Earth, and the graphic representation of the Earth. Also, we're going to distinguish what is the difference between the map and the globe, some reflection and references. So, without further ado, let's begin. According to our former President Barack Obama just once said, that the study of geography is more than just memorizing the places on a map, but it is about understanding the complexity of the world, for appreciating the diversity of cultures that exist across continents. And in the end, it's about using that knowledge to help bridge that divides that bring people together. So the study of geography is all about not just memorizing those locations, the parallels, the margins in our map or globes, but rather it's all about the diversity of cultures, about certain type of people in each country. So now let's define what is geography. But before that, let's watch this video presentation. As we all know that geography seeks to understand where things are found and why they are there. So geography they try to develop and change over time. Geography seeks to understand where things are found and why they are present on those locations or places. How things are located in some distant places also influence one another. Of the people that live and develop and change in a particular ways. Raising this question is the heart of geographic as the perspective. Geography is also the study of places and the relationship between people and their environments. Geographers explore both physical properties of the Earth's surface and the human societies spread across the globe. They are also examine how culture interacts with natural environment and the way the locations and places have impact on people. So there are some of geographic study of the Earth. First, let's define what is geography and where it came from. So geography originates in two Greek words. First is geo, which means the earth, and the second is the graph, which means to write. Geography is about writing the earth or describing the beauty of the earth. There are some pioneers of geography. The Greeks are the first known culture to have explored geography and science and philosophy, with a major contribution of Thales Miletus, Herodotus, Eratosthenes, Hipparchus, Aristotle, Dicaearchus of Messana, Strabo, and Ptolemy. One of the father of geography is Eratosthenes. He created the geography in 276 to 194 BC. He was the first to suggest that calling the earth one of the pioneers of geography is Eratosthenes. During this 276 to 194 BC, Eratosthenes became the father of geography. He was the first to suggest that earth science to be called geography. Eratosthenes is the author of the work of Geographia Automata or geographical notes. Eratosthenes is a mathematically justified boundary between climate zones, created the map of the world we are using right now, the parallels, and the meridians. This book was not reached to us, but it contests that we use the geography nowadays in ancient Roman and scholar Strabo. One of the pioneers of geography is during the Middle Ages. Arabs such as Ebrisi, Ibn Buta, and Ibn Khaldun built and maintained a quick Roman Empire learnings. During the journeys of Marco Polo is also known as the discovered who discovered the Silk Road. Silk Road is one of the greatest innovations in our ancient history, which is in Asia and China. So it interests more the geography and spread out throughout Europe. During resonance into the 16th and 17th centuries in the great voyages and exploration, revived the desire of a solid theoretical foundation and accurate detail. So one of the most famous voyages is by Ferdinand Magellan. He and his fellow um, voyages or traveled or circumnavigated the world. Now, with him is Sebastian Delcano. We all know that Ferdinand Magellan died in the Battle of Mactan, but the voyage go on, and which became Sebastian Delcano, the first European circumnavigated the world. During the age of discovery up to today, the 21st century, the innovation of geography improved transportation, communication, and navigational technology. One of those examples is the GMT or the Greenwich Mean Time. The Greenwich Mean Time is the world now we use is the time zones. Here in our country, the Philippines, we use as 8 positive or 8 plus 8 hours in other from the Greenwich Mean Time. Geography also became an important part of academic disciplines such as chemistry, economics, and philosophy. Now we proceed on the elements of geography. First is the physical geography. Physical geography is the study of Earth's natural features such as mountains, rivers, deserts, and oceans. Physical geography studied the landforms and how the climate and our environment changes. Physical geography focuses on the character and process of shaping the land surface of the earth and the spatial variance occur at temporary changes necessary to understand contemporary environments of the earth. Its purpose is the Earth's physical environment is the basis affected by human activity. So physical geography focuses on the land mass of the earth, its environment, and how human adapt to its the climate or its environment. Next elements of geography is the human geography. Human geography is the study's distribution of networks of cultures on the Earth's surface. This study of interrelationship of people, place, and environment, and how spatial temporally across the nations between locations. Human geographers also study how people used to alter their environments, and while example, people allow their animals to overgraze the region and soil erode grassland, it's transformed into desert, an impact overgrazing the landscape as well as the production of the study of human geographers. So here in our country, one factors of human geography is before the forestal land turns into agricultural land. The some of those forestal land became subdivisions, buildings, and created some infrastructures. One of human geography is deforestation. Nowadays, we use The climate change became a one factors of deforestation that causes the human um, need. Now, before we proceed to another topic, let's have a quick video presentation about the solar system. This is the solar system. Solar system is named from a Latin word sol, which means the sun, because the sun is the center of our universe that creates a gravitational pull between or other terrestrial object in our universe. So our solar system consists of the star, which is one of the brightest, is we call now a sun, and the planets like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and also with Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. There are also some dwarf planets called Pluto and dozens of millions of moons, asteroids, comets, and meteorites. Those three, like asteroids, comets, and meteorites, distinguish because of their mass. If the rock, which is the asteroids, became smaller and go on to the asteroid belts, then we called it comets. Comets became smaller, its size, that became meteoroids. When these meteoroids enter our atmosphere, then it becomes meteors. That's what we see in our sky during meteor shower or a shooting star. There are many planetary systems like ours in the universe, planets orbiting the host, the star. So, when we say the host or sun, the brightest star in our universe, first, let's have this video presentation about the planet, the sun. The sun. The sun is 4.5 billion years old, the hot glowing ball of hydrogen and helium in the center of our solar system. The sun is about 93 miles or 150 million kilometers from the Earth. And without its energy, life as we know could not exist here on our home planet. The sun is the largest object in our solar system, and the sun volume of 1.3 billion Earths to fill. That is, gravity holds the solar system together. So its gravitational pull because of its gravitational pull, we have the planets and other objects surrounding the sun, orbiting it. The hottest part of the sun is its core, where temperature is about 27 million degrees Fahrenheit and 15 million degrees Celsius. So, without the sun in our universe, we don't have a climate, seasons. The sun activity and its powerful eruptions and steady seem charged particles that send out influence the nature of space throughout the solar system. So, sun plays a very important role in our solar system. So now, let's proceed to the planets and the moons. The planets, we have 8 planets composed of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. They are called also the terrestrial planets, or there are planets inside the asteroid belt, or we call them also the inner planets. Now we have the outer planets. The outer planets composed of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Jupiter and Saturn is also called as the gas planets. Uranus and Neptune became the cold planets. They are also called as the jovial planets because it resides outside or the outer planets of the universe. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system and it also the nearest to the sun. Mercury is slightly bigger to our own satellite, which is the moon, and it will be appear 3 times large and it's viewed from the Earth. The sun, because of it's so close to the sun, it gives us 7 times more brighter than all other planets in the solar system. Now let's have see is the Venus. Venus is the second planet from the sun, which is the closest planet in our home neighbor. Venus is a thick and toxic atmosphere filled with carbon dioxide and perfectly surrounded with thick yellowish clouds of sulfuric acid that trap and heat, causing runaway greenhouse effect. So even though Mercury is nearest to the sun, Venus is called the hottest planet in the solar system because of its sulfuric acid and heat inside its core. Now we have the Earth. The Earth is our home planet. It's the third and planet from the sun in the only place we know so far that we have life or living things, because the Earth is have a only planet that has a water in it or the liquid in its surface. The Earth is the biggest in the four planets in the sun, which made of rock and metal. We name of all the planets, Earth is named in a German word which is named the crown. Other planets was named after Greek word of goddess and goddesses. So now we go on to the Mars. Mars is a dusty, cold desert world with a very thin atmosphere. Mars is a dynamic planet with seasons like polar ice caps, canyons, extinct volcanoes, and evidence which is more active in the past. Mars is most explored bodies in our solar system by only planet that sent rovers and an alien landscapes. So it is believed that the Mars could be the next Earth, or the rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance, which is the NASA sends out to our solar system or our universe to look out if there could be a possible that there would be a life in Mars. But nowadays, because of its thicker atmosphere, it is uneasy to live in there. It's dry and rocky and better, and it's cold in Mars, and it's a very easiest to spot the Mars in night sky because it's so bright. Nowadays, there are some humans or robotic explorers who have sent to Mars to dig more further about pathfinders that eventually could make the Mars the second home. Next is the planet Jupiter. The planet Jupiter is the fifth planet nearest to our sun, farther to our sun, another way around. The largest planet in the solar system is twice as massive of all other planets combined. So it so massive, which is it's so big that it became the largest planet in our universe. The Jupiter is also called as the gas planet because its was actually cold and when the clouds of ammonia and water floating atmosphere of hydrogen and helium. Jupiter is iconic. It's a great red spot. It's a giant storm bigger in the Earth has raged for hundreds of years. So Jupiter became the largest planet of the universe. Now is the Saturn. Saturn is the sixth planet in the Sun and the second largest planet in our solar system. Like a fellow gas giant like the Jupiter, Saturn is the only planet that have magnificent or spectacular rings. Its rings composes of dozens of moons, asteroids, and other terrestrial jovial planets rather that are orbiting around the rings of the Saturn. Next is the Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and the third largest diameter to our solar system. It was the first planet discovered in 1781 by astronomer William Herschel. Although he originally either a comet or a star, he was confused by that. 2 years later, the object was accepted as the new planet by Johann Elert Bode. wherein Herschel unsuccessfully named the Uranus as now its name because um, King George Ura- Herschel was unsuccessfully named the planet Uranus, we call it nowadays, because he called it as a Georgium Sidus, or it was after the King George III. But in a scientific community, they accepted a bold suggestion that we have to name it Uranus from the Greek god of sky, suggested by Dove. Next is the Neptune. Neptune, so far from the sun, is high noon and in the big blue planet that seemed dim in the twilight. The dark, cold, and vivid supersonic ice giant Neptune is the eighth most distant planet in our solar system, and more than 30 times as far as the Sun and the Earth. Neptune is the only planet in our solar system not visible in the naked eye, and the first predicted mathematics before its discovery. In 2011, Neptune completed its first 165-year orbit since its discovery in 1846. So Neptune is also one of the cold planet because of its far area or far its diameter to the sun. Then the heat becomes lesser and lesser to its surface. Now we proceed on the satellites, which is the moon. The moon is also known as the natural satellites that orbit planets and asteroids in our solar system. The first man ever arrived, recorded, to reach the moon is Neil Armstrong. That is the Apollo 11. The second man was Yuri Gagarin. So most of a major planet except Mercury and Venus, Pluto has dwarf planets, and Mercury and Venus don't have moons, but all other planets has. Saturn and Jupiter have most moons because of the rings, and also their mass is bigger. So they are also called as the two giant planets. Moons have many shapes, size, and types. A few have atmospheres and hidden oceans beneath its surface. Most planetary moons probably formed a disk of gas and thus circulating captured objects in a form where fell into the larger and worlds. But before we proceed to the planet Earth, let's have a video presentation about the planet Earth. Now we have our planet home, the Earth. That is the Earth. So the Earth of all the planets, Earth is named from a German word which means the ground. And other planet was named from the goddess and the goddesses in the Greek, ancient Greek, but Earth become more. That is the Earth. Now, of all the planets, except the Earth was named after the German word means the ground. Of all other planets, which came from the gods and the goddesses, and in the ancient Greek it was named, Earth become a hospitable and temperature that mix chemicals that have made life abundant here. Most notably, Earth is unique and in a most of a planet covered in liquid water. Its temperature allows liquid water to exist and extends in a period of time. Earth vast oceans and provided convenient and placed life on Earth that began in 3.8 billion years ago. Earth is the only planet that have a single moon. Our moon is the brightest and the most familiar in an object in the night sky. In many ways, the moon is responsible for Earth making such a great home. It stabilized the planet world and it's made of climate variable over 1,000 years. Eight Earth composed of four main layers: the inner core or the planet's center. It developed the outer core, the mantle, and the crust. Now, let's watch first the video presentation about the layers of the Earth. We have now the graphic representation of the Earth. The graphical representation of the Earth's surface is the part on the flat surface which is we call the map. Map is the graphic representation drawn on the scale and usually in the flat surface that features, for example, geographical, geological, and geopolitical in an area of Earth and other celestial body. Globes and maps are presented in the surface of the sphere, and a cartography is the art of science that making the charts. One of its graphic representation is what we call now a map. A map is a visual representation of the Earth in a flat surface, and the Greeks accredited the map putting and some mathematical footing. The earliest Greek known that have mapped world was Anaximander. In the 6th century BC, he drew up the map and known the world, assuming that the world was cylindrical. So, a map is a symbolic representation that selected a characteristic of a place. It is usually known as the maps. Map is present in information about the world in a simple visual way. They teach about the world and showing sizes and shapes and countries and locations and features and distances between places. So the map is very beneficial to the on navigational system in our country. It's either in air, land, or in water. Nowadays, we use a Google Map. It becomes more 3D and have a street view. Now we proceed on the globe. Globe is a spherical model of the Earth. In the some other celestial body and celestial pair, globes serve as similar to maps, but unlike the maps, they don't distort the surface that portray the Earth. The model of the Earth and terrestrial globe, or the model of the globe, is also called as the terrestrial sphere, which is celestial globe. The globe shows detail in its subject. A terrestrial globe shows a landmass, water bodies, and it might show nations and major cities and network of latitude and longitude lines. Some have raised reliefs and show mountains and other landforms. So let's distinguish between the two. What is the globe and what is the map? The globe is a three-dimensional sphere, while the map is only two-dimensional. The globe represents the whole Earth, whereas the map may represent the whole Earth but just the part of it, because it is in a flat surface. A globe can be used to get a broad level of picture of the world, while maps provide specific information about the different places. So, as to a summary of all these things, in the previous slides, we know the geography and what is its importance to the our culture and diversity. Next, we all explore the solar system, the Earth, and the layers of the Earth. Now, before anything else, and before we end this discussion, let's have a small video representation about our planet, the Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, to our professor, Sir Herman Salves, thank you for listening. And once again, this is me, Jessamay Sarmero, an MA Saksay student. Thank you for listening. That's all my presentation. Once again, good morning.